big one that's been getting a lot of early priority. But if you want to early pick Malphite, you need to ban Sylas. We have 2 melee mid players, so I doubt, unless we see JDG ban the Sylas and then hand over the first pick Malphite, I don't think we're seeing it in the first rotation just yet. It could obviously come up on third pick for JDG if that's the direction we want to go down. If they want to pick up that Malphite, it is something we've seen JunJia play a little bit of throughout the Demacia Cup. But Akali, another big one. We've got Gunblade back in the game. Some of these mid lane assassins could go a bit crazy. The Ambessa, this is a mega flex between top and jungle right now. It's 100%. Been a bit of hit or miss in the jungle, but when it can get to level 20 in the top lane, yeah, it's a bit silly actually.
I'd love to see them throw the fake out, right? You picking this early with the first pick red side. It's like, all right, probably jungle. But 369, I feel like, can throw down such a good Ambessa. Hopefully we'll see them kind of fake out that jungle swap. Holy team fight oriented swing here from Tabe, though. Even people are a little bit lower on NaiYou in this new season. Pop Blossom Shockwave combo, scary, Melvin.
If I don't see a Nocturne on 3 from JDG, I feel like something's gone awry here, and I think this is a very reasonable hover for Creme. Be able to push away a lot of the mega engage that will ultimately be flying at you, regardless of which champion you pick up here. So now, with the NaiYou locked in, you're kind of inclined to want to pick up a support here to avoid getting double banned on the second rotation. Thinking about what could be a decent option here, Blind, maybe something like the Bard. Might not be going down that chain of thought though, just deciding to show its Ambessa jungle, confirm the entire top side of top esports. Don't know if I'm super happy with that, but it is the top lane champion, you know, one of those big tanks we were expecting to see of the day.
And before we get one of the most hyped, I would say the most hyped import into the LPL in 2026 is, you know, lock-in of a champion here to round out the first phase JG. I really want to emphasize one more time, look at how many new names are on these 2 staple orgs. Watch out for who wants to make a name for themselves very early on, especially knowing how tumultuous and turnover heavy some rosters can get at the top for the LPL. So seeing that Malphite get slammed, put in the jungle, man, you thought Nico Oriana was scary. JunJia throwing down the Malphite too. Ball delivery system expedited. That's what I've got to say.
And added benefit, unless we see Fengyue pick up the Sylas support, you don't need to ban that anymore, because you've already shown all of your top side, so no potential. Sylas got to go on in any of those roles relatively happily, but not going to have to worry about it. We do see the Kai'Sa banned away. We know that crit marksmen have really been running the patch at the moment. Zeri, a really big threat. Outside that, Caitlyn doing quite well. When we look at how we're going to play with this Nico, I think that we're probably just going to see another trade of bans, potentially something like the Brom taken out of the waters by JDG, matched with another... trying to think of what other dive ADC. You might see the Zeri knocked out of here by TES.
I have to see Alistar going to be...
Don't mind that.
Yeah. Smart ban to throw down here. We'll see if... I would like to see a Zeri respect ban given away. I think, you know, Yunara is also still obviously a sneaky pick. LPL, it seems early, LPL marksmen are a little bit more favoring of really either. Both of them just so good with that new ultimate ability haste. Marksman item makes your first 3 autos disgusting. Zahen, though, is going to be the ban here. So what do JDG... I know it's still going to be a little funny to look out on blue side, but what do they want to pick now to guarantee that blue side B5 counter pick? God, Callum, it's gonna be weird for me to get that lingo back down.
Theoretically, you just want to slam a top laner here, but instead they are leaning towards just taking the Yunara off the table.
This guy got the first Yunara pentakill ever in the world, by the way. Just saying, if this gets locked in.
Yeah, no, it's Gala. He had a bit of an here and there. I felt like his form during the Demacia Cup was not as consistent as we would expect from Gala. Still had plenty of highs, but had far more lows than I was ready for. I'm hoping that was just, it's Demacia Cup, guys. Let's see what happens when we get into the season proper. Interestingly enough, Aphelios has kind of slipped through the bans right now, not really being valued as high as he is in the solo queue tier lists. Jhin, it's an option. It works nicely when you have the Ambessa for the chain up. You get the public execution into that Jhin route, and one target just isn't allowed to play the game. Going for the Rel, a lot more conventional, enables you to go for that engage, but I'm here or there on what TES put together. It's cohesive, it works, but now with last pick over to JDG, I'm curious where they want to take this one. Please don't just be basic Renekton.
You know, let's see here, right? Because we talked about it. Xiaoxu knows he's got a pretty decent matchup into a tank. All right, gonna throw the Renekton down. Listen, it is boring. It is boring, Callum, but it does kind of fit this like all-in team fight style of this comp, right? That like Tabe is saying top esports, Baron Pit, Dragon Pit, mid lane, first turret. We're throwing hands, all right? You do not get to take things on this map for free, and if we're rocking up together, good luck beating this comp.
And it is one of the things we kind of one part of the identity that both of these rosters showed at the Demacia Cup was if there is an objective, we are going there. Yep. It was something that CFO had a lot in their identity that we've seen both HongQ and JunJia bring over pretty much immediately. TES, even with limited games and without their solo laners playing in Demacia Cup, showed that they loved running at objectives and trying to sneak them, try to right-click them on cooldown. And with tankier objectives, Baron back at 20 minutes has that resistance shred now. He got it back from Atakan, it was on loan. You know, there's a lot of potential for some mega chaos here, so that's probably, like you were saying, where the logic in a Renekton comes in. We just need to get the snowball going and then trust these players to roll it all the way to the finish line.
Well, we are certainly trying to build a snowball to turn into an avalanche for glory if you talk about these two organizations in their new eras. Top Esports, approaching a year ago now, it's hard to believe, split one champion organization, representative at first stand, would like to repeat that once more, and JD Gaming really just looking to kind of usher in a new era after a very disappointing year here. But talking a bit more about the compositions, I want to pick your brain on the Jhin pick, because I feel like Jhin is such a polarizing pick. It's like, it's got to really fit the scenario to pick it in a game like this, but that's what JiaQi's rocking as we get onto the Rift.
It was something that we saw him play, and it was not the best performance in Demacia Cup, but again, it was a 4-game sample size, one Jhin game. Thing is, we have seen now, one of the most important parts of the patch is that crit damage went up, back from 175% of your damage dealt to 200%. So crit carries, quite happy. Jhin, renowned for having quite large critical strikes. So I think if there was a time for Jhin to be doing a bit more damage than expected, to be able to get through some of the tankier champions, this is it. There is a Malphite, which obviously problematic. So you're hoping that we can have Creme cover up for that and really be the AP DPS. So if there was a Jhin game, this is it. It's fine. I'm not a big lover of Jhin in pro play, but we've seen players like Ruler get it done both in the LPL and the LCK. You can do a lot of damage if you get to late game. And now with 6 item slots, once you complete the ADC quest, yeah, you can restack the AD quite high, actually.
Yeah, I like that point, right? It felt like into this JDG comp, JiaQi, no matter what he picked, it was going to be a hard time outside of lane, so the Jhin, a good little number, especially the way he's been able to kind of punish Vampire and Gala, force him to trade a lot of his health econ to contend in this wave, as Top Esports will also have the support of NaiYou coming down towards this bot side, so definitely going to keep the pressure up here to the max, and we heard our two casters on the first series talk about it a bit here, Callum, but the speed that these junglers can just fly through these camps, it really opens up a lot of caution for a lot of these lanes. I wasn't really going to talk about the mid lane, but all right, HongQ, already forcing Creme out of lane early, going to have to expend that teleport.
Not bad. We did get to see in one of the B-roll HongQ clips him bullying TES last year, with Creme being one of the recipients of that damage, so it is something that these players have actually played against each other a handful of times, with HongQ having pretty good performance thus far. It's just the basic starter lane phase, though. At the end of the day, there's 2 level 6 demons in the jungle, as we see NaiYou showing himself.
What about level 4 demons fighting over Scuttle Crab? Callum, this is the LPL right here. We fight over Scuttle Crabs. We need to crash down, engage. Flash war for JiaQi. JunJia is cut down. First blood secured by NaiYou as he tries to make his statement into the jungle first in our big Titan matchup. Top Esports on the board.
Okay, we do see
a bit
Gala
more.
Vampire.
Tangle Barb. There we go. I think Gala should have enough damage and will be able. Vampire picks up that kill. Fengyue cannot find the trade. And just like that, we're starting the seesaw of our matchup. it's JDG's bottom lane to answer the first blood.
Head in my hands at the end of that one. Yeah, Top Esports had a lead and decided, let's go hard mode. A nice initial play that we got to see coming out there. NaiYou really flexing on this Ambessa. I was saying level 6 threats because the Malphite doesn't do a lot until then. He's just a guy. He's not stacked armor.
He's just a rock.
Yeah, like, what do you want him to do here? He can slow some attack speed. Ambessa only needs to get one hit in at a time to keep the passive rolling, so it is what it is. And then, let's see what actually happened here to keep this fight elongated. Just the tag from the... Yeah, alright, just the barbs tagged, and then a pretty tragic flash at the end here.
Yeah, that... Oh!
Yeah, it was worse the second time. It was worse the second time.
Yeah, I was like, I thought you were talking about the Gala flash into the crash down. Hold on, there's a crash down. All right, Gala, there's a good, nice dodge. Just get away from that engage. Remember everybody's first series of the... Oh my god, HongQ. All right. Listen, I saw this at Worlds against BDD, and it did not end well. So let's oh my god. Guys, let's suspend the heart attacks at 5 minutes. It is the first game you're playing on stage, and neither of them are willing to back down at 50 HP. And we're back to the bottom lane immediately. All right, I think things are settling down, but Melvin, you're starting to get the picture of what to expect in the LPL, huh?
Most definitely. And part of the reason that I was saying I'm so excited to be here for this season in particular is because it's such a volatile time to play League of Legends. You know, there's going to be a lot of trading like this, that's standard issue, but...
Oh my god, the junglers are back. They're not level 6, they're level 5, and they still want to throw down. And there you see exactly what Melvin was talking about, how little impact Malphite can have. Oh, we have top laners. I forgot.
Oh my god, they exist!
We haven't panned up here all game, so I forgot they were here.
Wow, good job, guys. We do have Xiaoxu coming up with a pretty decent CS lead at the start. You know, it's Renekton hours. Kind of what we want to see. We need to see a bit of a lead coming out before the Cassandre hits mega late game, as there is a dive set up here, but there's no minions, so I don't love it.
Yeah, also, that's just a level 5 at best. I feel like this is a really forced issue. Now, NaiYou, we get a little bit cornered. JunJia is, like, hanging around just to make sure his bottom lane doesn't get dove. I feel like there's a decent amount of time being wasted by both these junglers who we talked about kind of have accelerated clears in the new game.
Well, that's the thing. It's not exactly wasted because all the camps were down. And so normally, because everything got sped up by 30 seconds except for the objectives, you finish your second clear, assuming you do 2 basic full clears, standing in front of the Dragon Pit at about 5 minutes. Now, when both bot lanes are alive, you know, a bit of trading in mid, when both bot lanes are alive, you kind of want to influence that to then be safe to go up to the Dragon. So I think we're seeing what will be a trend throughout the year of both junglers kind of just trying to overforce a play bot lane, because they know, I can't start Dragon, it's a Malphite, but you can still walk at me and hit me on the thing. It's an Ambessa, I can't walk at there as JunJia, so it's like, what do? You kind of just sat around with not much to force, especially if you're a level 6 jungler who now, we have both of them online. A lot of engage potential has just appeared in pretty much anywhere that we see them walk. So I think this first dragon fight, as we see expected, NaiYou immediately right-clicking in that direction.
Yep. I like this, though, too. I don't know how much info they have on where JunJia went with his clear, but he has a lot of camps to clear top down. So nice little window found for NaiYou. Again, really want to emphasize how a year ago today, NaiYou was not a starting jungler in the LPL, and now he's commanding a lot of the leadership duty on this top esports roster, a much younger roster than it ever was last year, with no JiaQi love, no Kanavi. It's a much fresher bottom lane, and NaiYou already showing in little spurts that he's willing to step up and make the calls, gets that dragon for free. That's a nice feeling for top esports.
And it's always easier to take a player who wants to force the ticket and wind them back in to get some level of responsibility, some level of kind of respect, than go the other way. So I'm glad that we're seeing NaiYou actually trying to get the tempo going, because one of the things we've seen pretty much from the limited sample size of the season so far is you accelerate so quickly as these quests go through, as you accumulate those wins.
Here we go, that teamfight threat. Vampire gets the flash out of JiaQi. That's a nice trade you'll take if you're Vampire.
Yep, I think JunJia would like to know your location, Mr. Jin, and
Yep.
it's really just going to be a case of now having to play super respectfully. So we do actually have both junglers hovering around mid. This crystalline overgrowth, HongQ really wants to proc it.
Creme gets hit by the shockwave. JunJia, Soppel force. He's going to chase over the wall. He sees NaiYou flashes on top of Creme's head and deletes him. He's not a rock anymore. He's a boulder throwing down. Public execution from NaiYou gets him back under turret. Handy use of that Ambessa ult, but man, JunJia, what a statement for his first kill in the LPL.
Much better than the Malphite ults I saw from him in Demacia Cup. That is encouraging that he has got the hang of flying like a lunatic. And it should pretty reasonably convert into a grub start. We do have, just checking, yeah, that is Vampire. Always got to verify when you see an icon on the minimap which person it actually is when Nico's in the game. Currently just the one secured by the looks of it. There's no more feats of warfare, so while grubs are quite important just because of how much gold you can drain from hitting towers, it's not one of those super high priority things, especially with wanting to be in lane to accumulate those stacks. I'll be honest, we could just let this play in the background because it was just good use of ultimates. HongQ winning out the lane phase again, and JunJia, perfect, lockdown, easy peasy. And I think that the fact that you have to burn the Ambessa ult there really does mean that TES can't force something proactively in the meantime. You would want to go hunting for JunJia, knowing that there's no Malphite ult, no flash available, and potentially pick up a kill on him, speed up your Ambessa's scaling, get her to that level 6 or that level 11 mark even, and increase the percentage pen that she gets once she levels up the ult a few more times to match the amount of armor that we're going to see stacked for this Malphite.
Right. Great thing to call out and track going forward. I'm glad that Vampire is allowed me to talk about the fact that counting minions for Nico is going to be a lot funnier now. If you're not aware, when a cannon wave comes out, you lose a melee minion now. So you do have to do a little bit more extra math on the Nico check. Don't need to do any math on this. There is the unstoppable shockwave, as we'll call it. That's the Flying Oyster combo now in the LPL, folks. 2 ults, 1 dead mid laner, but it's Fengyue looking for the turn back and a double crash down into the public execution. Vampire is dead. And JunJia doesn't have any damage left to trade that out, so both these teams finding ways to kind of scrap back after losing a member.
Much better for TES than last time. At least they managed to get a return kill, and it was off the back of the Ambessa, getting more gold into that pocket. Already picked up the Eclipse, specifically in these early team fights where we would expect JDG to be a bit stronger. Got the Inara, got the Orianna, and particularly this Renekton when it comes to the full-on team fights. JDG should be favoured in these early fights, so if you can snowball NaiYou, if you can continue to pour gold into that Ambessa, it could give a chance for this person sitting in Kanavi's chair now to kind of make it their own.
He's going to have to, because mid lane is kind of a travesty. I know a lot of hype fans. Oh yeah, give me the cinematic replay. World stage now to Beijing. HongQ and JunJia, same old duo. Gotta love it. My point being here is the fans are definitely loving it. Look at that gold difference in the mid lane we got going on here, Callum.
Yes, pretty good. And with only, what is that, 2 plates collected thus far from HongQ, none knocked down from Creme. I think now's probably a good time to talk about this pseudo comeback mechanic of the crystalline overgrowth. If there's a kill that comes out of this, I'll be very surprised. The Malphite ult's up in 2, but yes, okay. Do I have a moment?
Oh, Gala. No, you don't. Transcended to Gala, flashing forward after JiaQi. One more of those should do it, and that's the Gala we know and love here around the LPL. You give him an inch, he takes a mile.
Very solid stuff, building up a lead, and is now excellent transition for me, Gala. Go collect some of that crystalline overgrowth. It's one of the ways that you can snowball ahead, complete your quest quicker. Go on, take it
Vampire.
away.
Yeah, Pop Blossom on a Fengyue. HongQ should easily pick up that kill. To make, to finish your point there for you, Melvin, it's a lot easier to snowball and run away with the game, and you've seen JDG do that in the last 3 minutes.
Most definitely, and it does mean that now this dragon has a lot more priority.
Oh, there it is again.
He's gone. He's just gone.
Didn't even need the shockwave this time. Just the unstoppable force.
Yeah, we see why teams are valuing this Malphite so highly. It's kind of like Nautilus of, if you could just press R on somebody, it doesn't matter how good they are. If the depth charge hits, the depth charge hits. Like, what can you do? If there's a Malphite in the game, unless you have Flash, and as we saw from Creme, even if you have Flash, if they aim the Malphite ult right, you're gone. There's not much to be done about it. Maybe get a spell shield, but the problem is, when it's a jungler, it kind of ends up being like Vi, if they could just smite away a potential spell shield, as we do get to see this pretty solid, just 2v2 outplay from Gala.
Oh, it's so beautiful. That's what I like to call the business as an AD carry player myself. 2 words to remember. All you need is good clicks. And those were some pretty good clicks.
Got the job done pretty handedly, as we do see now, taking a look up at the top. All of the
5K.
quests completed, bar Creme and Fengyue, which is, yeah, difficult situation to be in at this point, with no dragon up at the moment to take, just losing even more tower gold. Just to make it a bit easier for people to understand, the towers basically are the same as last year, minus the fact they now have plates. The reason they're distributed in this weird way is it's the exact same, give or take, of how much damage you have to deal to the tower. They just made it health scaling rather than resistance scaling, because normally when you would take a plate last time, it would increase the resistances of the tower, making it harder to take the rest of them. Now, Riot's just made it a lot more visually clear. It looks a bit weird, but when you realize this is just how it actually
Gala,
works.
great catch, NaiYou, but the cleanse is perfect. Gala gets out of the JW. Now they catch NaiYou forward, and Vampire finds a 2-man pop blossom on the backside. Gala transcended, trying to step up, get a couple more of these autos down. But JDG, even when they get jumped on now, find a way to turn the tides.
That's what we want to see from a team with a 5.7k gold lead at 15 minutes. Damn, it's crazy. Damn, it's crazy. And a majority of that on the back of Gala and HongQ. And I will say, credit to Vampire there. Really good counter engage to continue the ticket there. Keep forcing the issue. And this is something that I want to harp on. If you get a lead, you need to keep the snowball going. Because...
that was a Cassante. Yeah, that was a simple Orianna combo. And that Cassante, where's the copy-paste Cassante I need? You know what? You're making the point. 6k gold lead. Oh, boy. Yep, 369. Tangle Barb. JunJia does not need his big ultimate to throw down onto 369. Oh, man. He goes into all out just to lose some more resistances. Vampire's looking for more. Gets another Tangle Barb down. Shockwave from HongQ through. Does he have enough gross damage for NaiYou? No, he doesn't. But, man, are they leaving an everlasting image towards Top Esports? This game is slipping out of their hands. Creme having to TP back in just to cover a turret, but that means Gala. Oh my god, that was one empowered Q. This game is getting out of hand rapidly. Quay knows that he's trying to make a snap engage with Creme, but he gets interrupted in the middle of his dash, trying to go after the back line of HongQ, but he flashes himself back over the flat wall. Xiaoxu joins the party with Dominus popped, and Fengyue is tarnished and thrown back to the base. This game is going off the rails rapidly, and if you're a JDG fan, this is exactly what you wanted to see out of this new roster.
I think it's so encouraging for JDG fans who, honestly, were probably feeling pretty good after Demacia Cup, but with a middling finals performance, I was not 100% what kind of form we would see them come into the season with. So far, kicking it off in great fashion, but let's temper expectations after we watch this kind of super force from TES. When you're this far behind, it makes sense that you want to keep forcing the ticket, but as we see there, it was JunJia using the ultimate, stopping Creme, get the Emperor's Divide onto 3, forced to use it defensively in the end. Really the turning point of that play. If there was hope for TES to get anything done, it was entirely stopped by a big rock to the face.
And that's going to happen all game long. One thing, we touched on how much of a team fight threat this composition is, but when you're playing a team fight comp, a snap engage comp like this with a gold accelerated, I mean, how much is every brush, every, piece of fog on the map, Callum, just so scary for a top esports team like this?
Tell you what, they're really glad that the Phaelites got introduced, because the 2 that's just outside the base that gives you preliminary vision into your jungle, pretty much the only way you get to play from this point onwards. As, okay, there was a TP off on the side. Very nice, thank you for the replay. As we do get the Cloud Dragon started up, and look at this, even with this far behind, as predicted, TES right-clicking towards this objective like their lives depend on it, and in the game, it currently does.
Oh boy, 369 is completely ganked wherever he was trying to come from. Flashes away with the all-out. He's used everything he desperately can to escape, but all he finds himself is a black and white screen. Second death of the game, and no more clicking towards that objective. It is easily picked up here by JunJia. They might even look here for Creme. Creme, you knew this dragon was going down, and now you're going to feel the new import power of JD Gaming. They're daring him to flash an Emperor's Divide. There's the shimmy shake to get himself out. JunJia goes after him with the Vampire. Pop bots him onto 3. My lord, it's a massacre for JD Gaming, and somehow NaiYou's able to escape it. But again, it's just foreshadowing for what the rest of this game should be for JD Gaming.
Oh, the people's elbow straight onto Creme there. Nothing to be done with this Malphite Nico Oriana. It's just too much. This was the first 3 picks from JDG, and they are executing on it swimmingly. As now we see ridiculous amount of shutdowns across the board available for TES to pray they can pick up. I don't see how they're going to do it this far. It's not exactly like if you take a look at the inventories, they are completely filled with damage. We have a Cassante with 2 items. That's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a full crit building. Jin needs time. Azir needs mega time. At best, I mean, there's not really much of a way to sugarcoat this, right? Like, how many run over fights? Oh yeah, Baron. Okay, so how many run over fights do we need before you feel like this game's over, Melvin?
Honestly, I need an ace and a Baron steal here, and then TES are back on the menu. But I don't think that's gonna happen, because the thing about having this Malphite in the jungle is even if he gets his resisted shredded, tanking up the Baron, he could still just go over the wall and press R. Like, you know, what do you do about that? Yeah, like. I don't think TES have a good angle back into the game. It needs to be JDG making pretty colossal mistakes. We did see throughout last year, oh, nothing there. Is this a fight or is this just posturing?
Let's pretend which one's the real rock. Yeah, that's the even scarier part, right? Is you don't know which one's the one that can fly over a wall. Taking all that space up towards the bear pit. That mid-tier 2 turret is soon to fall down. Oh, top lane skirmish. We're throwing down hands, and I would figure Xiaoxu is pretty favored in this one, but 369's making it close. The flash stun just to secure it. Xiaoxu picks himself up the solo kill to keep the JD train running.
Really nice, considering that was a fight at an item disadvantage for the Renekton, only having the 1 completed item. Really promising, and it's something that, again, top lane hasn't really been the focus of this game, to use a bit of an understatement, but coming into the series, seeing how Xiaoxu performs against 369, who was, to our expectation, the most important member of TES. We didn't get to see them at the Demacia Cup, but 369 is such a big name, such an important factor for this team's success. And let's actually see the full fight of what happened here, because the part that we really clocked onto was that flash outplay at the very end from Xiaoxu. But it's just complete confidence on this Crocodile, one of their signature picks. We saw a lot of success on the Zehen, but behind the Jax as well. Renekton is sitting there ominously waiting for Crocodile to come out. I wasn't happy to see it in draft, but I'm a lot happier seeing it in game.
Depending on what fan base you're here watching our series, you're about to be a lot happier with this next ultimate combo with some of the items you got coming through here for JDG as they try and set up for this Baron. Top Esports, you got to give up some of this real estate, or you were asking for a whooping coming from JunJia and HongQ. Been just so tanky with this build, maximize ultimate damage, but there's NaiYou flying on the background. HongQ has to go into the stasis. Fengyue finds a good angle. The shockwave for HongQ gets him out, and oh my god, Gala just deletes Creme. Yep, it's Gala here to the rescue with tons of damage, and the look to try and chase down a NaiYou that is way out of his comfort zone, trying to steal camps away. HongQ will just zone him. JD Gaming onto the Baron for now. Top Esports, desperation is the name of their game, to try and find some way into this pit, try and find some way to stem the bleeding, and maybe it's going after HongQ, who's casually going for the 1v1 against NaiYou, but NaiYou looking to throw hands back. It doesn't matter. HongQ is just better. JD Gaming secure the Baron. JiaQi is jumped on by a Crocodile looking to chase him down. Vampire doesn't even expire. It's only 369 who limps away to tell the tale of the Mad Titans, JD Gaming, in this game 1.
That is the HongQ we wanted to see it coming into the LPL. Fancy feating, and the respect, by the way, to be ahead and pick up the Zhonyas. Something I didn't get to set up before the fight, but it was really the reason that went completely in JDG's favor. TES have the Ambessa to try and force anything. And guess what? They hit onto the Orianna. Should be best case scenario. Nah, stasis. How can play? Gala gets to just right-click everybody down. And then HongQ opting in to take the fight in the 1v1, executing it brilliantly. As we see a desperation play. Double TP coming in from the solo lane as a TES on the flank.
Well, they know all those great defensive spells are down for HongQ for now. But he gets right back towards his team. And Top Esports have to very awkwardly walk back up their own lane. JunJia, the big tank for JDG. Just holding the front line. Vampire poking and prodding with some tangle barbs. Creme is getting a lot of time, though, with that lethal tempo stacked up, and JunJia's going to respect Flash away here for now. Bringing up that Baron wave. Good call out there, Melvin. They have, oh, yep, Xiaoxu just slamming on inhibitor turrets. Well, that really shuts down any possibility of a fight.
Yeah, when you're stuck in this state of wanting to force a play, but hold on.
Oh, HongQ first, JunJia second, Gala third, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. JDG are eating good in this game one. Gala's got himself the triple. He's picked himself up the quadra. Gala, pentakill debut on JDG, just like that.
This is LPL, everybody. You came, you saw, Gala got you, and now that is going to be a clean first game for JDG. We talked about the high expectations. We talked about what we wanted to see from these players. This is it. Everybody playing at the maximum for JDG, and TES, terrifying state to be put into for the first series of the year.
Gala, welcome to the LPL. What the heck? That's just like, if we talked about it, right? It's like, you know, like JDG, this is a whole new roster. These are two LCP guys coming into the LPL. Like, it could be shaky. They looked a bit rusty. No. Like, all the things we were worried about with this team, at least for one game. Oh my God, did I just have to chuck them out the window?
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep the series alive in saying that we just had IG win their first game and then lose the series. This is something that can happen.
That's a good
point. At the end of the day, it's a fearless system. We know there's no more Malphite coming. This is something that TES can look to the game to and hopefully free for them and go, all right, we can just, you know, do something a bit differently and come out on top. But JDG, absolutely just phenomenal performances across the board. Very minimal, if no notes, honestly. They just played well. They didn't drop leads. They outperformed in lanes. Like, what do you want from them? That was just great. Yeah. That was exactly it.
Like, everything that was positively envisioned about the pieces of this team in that game played out right. You know, the CFO duo, mid-jungle, HongQ and JunJia terrorizing Creme that whole game. That same synergy from that Worlds performance was still there. The hype of a Gala Vampire bottom lane, the main sell was the fact that if they're feeling confident, they're going to throw hands anywhere, anytime. What had just happened in that game? Everything that was propped up as a positive for JDG to be a contender in the LPL just happened in their first debut game. The only negative I could say here is, like, how do you go from the high of that debut game from a roster with how many hundreds of games we have left?
It's going to be difficult, but at the end of the day, we talked about this being a game and a series of expectations. Well, if this is a series of precedent for JDG to start off the split, start off this group ascend on a high note, at the end of the day, you're competing to get into playoffs. And, you know, We're not going to project all the way to first stand. This is the first game you've played. TES could look completely different in a week, let alone in game 2. So now we need to figure out what is going to go on in the drawing board. Does JDG have other stuff that they are going to look this good on? Because you're making it really understandably high level that we got to see from JDG. Can they replicate that on a less relatively cookie-cutter draft? Like, at the end of the day, they had a Malphite Orianna and a Nico. Yeah. Like, you said it in the first 3 picks. Guys, what do we think we're going to do? We're going to run at them, and we're going to press all the R buttons, and 2 people minimum will die. And guess what happened? That every time. Is there that many more simple ways they can keep this rolling? Will we see stuff like Vi have to come out now?
Well, we get to see some of the... usually, like, you know, you can find some very fun, like, post-game stats to, like, emphasize certain point. Nah, man. It's just what do we emphasize here? The JDG ran over this game. You know what's an interesting talking point as we roll through some of these stats here, Melvin, is it interesting to say the advantage of maybe playing your full roster in the Demacia Cup, right? Like, JDG, this 5 they got a lot of reps together. Top Esports look like a team that didn't play with their 2 solo laners until, well, on stage at least, right now.
I mean, even just talking about the highlights of having HongQ and JunJia, like that duo, we expected that synergy, and it wasn't there as much as I would have liked to see in Demacia Cup, but now working fully with the team, we saw several plays where Vampire was there as well to make it into a 3v2, something that we rarely saw happen on the other side for TES. And this bot lane looked very solid together, in nothing really to be problematic. There was a whoopsie-daisy flash or two here or there, but that was mainly on the end of TES at the end of the day, so...
Right.
Yeah, happy days.
Yeah, and again, back to what we really emphasize at the top of show, right? There's so many guys on both of these rosters that are stepping in for LPL legends, right? JunJia is playing for Shun's spot. Like, this is Scout's mid lane spot from HongQ. JiaQi, in particular, like, having to step in with this Jin for JiaQi love. Top Esports, it's always going to be the back of the mind of the fans, right? It's always going to be the back of the mind of some of these players, too. The stakes that they're stepping into, and again, it's just one game. You don't need to take a lot away from it, but that is always going to be a big point of emphasis when we talk about who really shined in these games going forward for both these teams. And right now, as you mentioned, it's everybody on JDG.
Yeah, and I mean, looking over to TES, particularly for JiaQi, like you're saying, with having JiaQi Love, unlike the other ones, not a full replacement. We know that JiaQi Love is projected to come back in Split 2, just taking a break off for this one.
Even
so
more
it's
pressure,
arguably
right?
the most important for JiaQi to get himself onto another team after this is all said and done. We want to see some strong performances that can really solidify him in that middle of the pack of the ADCs. And, you know, listen, I'm new here. If there is one role that I associate with being the highest skill level in the LPL, I mean, Gala kind of showed it off today, didn't he? Like, it's that bot lane. You need to be doing it. You need to be having these peak performances, especially this season, giving you an extra item slot, accelerated gold. Basically, everything coming up Millhouse for the bot lane. Like, it looks a great position to be in, and it means that there's so much more pressure to perform. And Gala really showed off that he has been under that pressure. He has performed. And you know what? He knew exactly how to get a Yunara pentakill. That was some great foreshadowing from you.
Yeah, right. Sometimes it pays. It pays to recognize the Yunara pentakill king. I guess we'll call Gala. I'll give you an easy slam dunk here. Callum, who's the player of the game? Wait, what? It's not Gala? I mean, he got a pentakill.
Yeah, but you know, rock solid.
That's top tier analysis. All right. That's all we need. I don't think you need to follow anything up. All right. That's cool, though. If there was ever a time to give a team player of the game award, as much of a cop-out as it is, Melvin, it would be this game, right? Like, you could have made an argument for what? Everybody but maybe, like, Xiaoxu? Even
then,
Xiaoxu,
he did
like,
everything correct, like, in isolation on the Renekton. No problems with him. So, yeah, like, everybody did exactly what they needed to. Like, Tabe going to be sitting very happy after that game.
Yeah, I mean, Tabe, such a divisive decision. Okay, wow, so we get a little breakdown of how close it was. All right, you know what? Team Caster had at least some... Caster's Observer. Refs, what are we watching? I don't understand how we don't at least have somebody vote for bottom lane.
I mean, that's the thing, though. HongQ was just stomping Creme in lane,
yeah,
with or without his jungler.
You're so right. You're so right. It's a good problem to have when we're arguing over who should win player of the game. Let's say that. What a start to the journey of two of our staple LPL orgs. Top Esports come out the gate looking flat, and JD Gaming. I think it's a serious question that how do you attain a single game peak higher than that one? Well, you play in bigger stakes games, but that's a long road away. The stakes here for Game 2 will be JD Gaming can take away a sweep to start their season. It's up to Top Esports to kind of bring everything together and find some way to fight back in our series. We had a 3-game start to our entire year. Can we have a back-to-back 3-game series in store for day 1 of the LPL Split 1? We'll have to see, because Game 2 is coming your guys' way after a short break.